The American Society of Magical Negroes. Let's talk about it. I have been waiting for this movie for a couple of months now, since the trailer came out, and the backlash on Twitter was predictable, to say the least. I think the title was a little off-putting. I think if you've never heard that term before, magical Negro, in this context, it can be off-putting. But if you've never heard it, I'm going to explain it to you. Sit tight. Let's talk about this movie. Kobe Libby is the director and writer here. This is his first film, his directorial debut. It stars Justice Smith, David Alan Grier, Anlee Bogan, Drew Tarver. So this movie is satirizing the magical Negro trope. This term was coined, so to speak, by Spike Lee in the early 2000s, and it's a trope that is a supporting Black character whose sole purpose in the movie is to aid, support, help the white protagonist. So The Legend of Bagger Vance, Bruce Almighty, Evan Almighty, Jeepers Creepers, The Green Mile, the Batman franchise, the Christopher Nolan movies, Lucius Fox, played by Morgan Freeman. Magical Negro. Aaron, played by Justice Smith, is a struggling visual artist, and he's trying to sell one of his little yarn sculptures. It looks like he's hanging laundry, but I guess it's supposed to be spectacular. And he is in this gallery with a room full of white people trying to get recognized, but he doesn't quite know how to navigate the space. He easily gets mistaken for being the help and just goes along with it. And while he's there, there's a bartender named Roger who recognizes him and sees potential in him to be a part of this mystery society, this secret society called the American Society of Magical Negroes. And they consider themselves to be almost superhero-like. They're saving the world. They're doing more for racial inequality than any protest ever could. In that their sole purpose is to make white people comfortable. As David Alan Grier's character Roger puts it, the most dangerous animal on the planet is a white person who is uncomfortable. And apparently Aaron is a good candidate because, number one, he just seems to be all about making other people comfortable. He's always apologizing. He's very hyper aware of the space he takes up in a room, and it kind of goes from there. That's about all I can say about the movie without giving the whole plot away. I've been trying to figure out how to really describe this movie while sounding smart and not so cynical. I don't think I can do it. I think I'm just gonna have to say it straight. This is a good idea, the concept of let's satirize the magical Negro trope. But it was just a poor execution. I think this director, he's too new. He's not seasoned. I understand this was his script. He wrote it. These are his characters. This is his baby. But the idea was just way too big for him. He was way too ambitious. He's not seasoned enough to take something like this and really flesh it out properly. This needed a Spike Lee. This needed someone like a John Singleton kind of director. Someone who has been around the block a time or two, who knows how to mesh genres, who knows how to properly take social commentary and turn it into comedy, because that's what this is. We're not just satirizing a movie trope or a literature trope. We're also, digging deep into the weeds of everyday racial relations, how Black people navigate the world around them, how Black people navigate white spaces, or how some Black people navigate white spaces. And I think that's part of the problem here, is that this movie, instead of satirizing or even poking fun at the magical Negro trope, this movie in turn, and I don't know if this was intentional or not, but this is what I got out of it, was he really was poking fun at and satirizing and even making a caricature of the Black community as a whole. The Society of Magical Negroes, the actual secret society itself, to me is a caricature of the Black community. It represents some of the biggest criticisms of the Black community, that we're a monolith, that we are a hive mind, that in order to be Black, you have to be a certain way, think a certain way, act a certain way, and navigate the world a certain way. And if you step outside that box, then you're either not Black enough, or, trouble awaits you. Like, there's no way you could possibly navigate the world as an ordinary Black human being and be safe and protected and feel good about yourself outside of that box. Because there's one girl in the movie, Tanya, who's part of this, secret society, who steps out of line and properly takes her white client to task over something, and that's a problem because their whole job in the secret society is to make white people comfortable, to keep their white tears at a minimum. And she decides to challenge this person, human being to human being, and that's a problem. So she is banned from the society, and she is hereby punished to live life in America as an ordinary black person. And apparently that's a punishment. Now, the big major plot point of the movie, and the problem with this plot point is it doesn't really get revealed until the very end, where we get this impassioned speech that's supposed to sum up the entire movie. And it honestly just comes a little too late because this plot point here is not fleshed out. It doesn't unfold properly. We're supposed to believe that Aaron has always been subconsciously aware of his position in the world as a black man, and that he's been carrying this weight, that he's always felt like he doesn't have the right to exist because he's black. And we're supposed to believe this the entire movie. I don't buy it. The first time we meet Aaron is in this art gallery, and everyone and their mama is dressed business casual, blazers, dress suits. And then Aaron looks like this college student who just rolled out of bed and decided to just show up. No care in his appearance. And just no confidence. He's insecure. He lacks confidence. He doesn't believe in himself. To me, he's just a typical human being who just doesn't know his value or his worth. And I don't think it has anything to do with his skin color, but we're made to believe it does. I just don't buy it. And then by the time this is revealed to us, oh, he is the way he is because of the color of his skin, or the way he views his skin color and the way he thinks other people view his skin color, it's too late. I don't buy it. I just don't. Part of the problem, I think, is the director really doesn't have a good grasp on the magical Negro trope, where it came from, why the phrase exists, what Spike Lee was talking about, and the place it has in modern cinema. You don't see the magical Negro trope too often anymore. This isn't something that would resonate with modern moviegoers. I think for those of us who pay attention, maybe, but everything is so diverse for diversity's sake that you don't really see the magical Negro trope that much anymore. And then we're living in this time where everything is so divisive and, everyone wants to make white people the bad guy, the enemy. I'm not sure who this movie is going to be for, like what conversation this is going to create. I think this movie is 10, 15 years too late, and the director, in terms of experience, is 10, 15 years too young. Does that make sense? Never mind the lack of character development. We don't know anything about this kid other than he's a spineless little jellyfish who just lets people walk all over him, but we're supposed to believe this is because he's subconsciously aware of his place in the world as a black man. Whatever. But we don't know anything about him or anyone in this movie for that matter. These are really just faces on a page. They're not characters. There are no characters here. There's no character development. The movie is just very flat, tonally dead, and a complete disappointment. Then you have Drew Tarver's character, Jason, who is Aaron's first client. Aaron gets a job. The society helps him get a job at this place called Meatbox, which is where Jason works. Jason is kind of lazy. We get the sense that he's not very good at his job and that he gets things handed to him. And, Lizzie, who Aaron meets kind of haphazardly at this coffee shop, Aaron has a bit of a little crush on her and accidentally puts an idea in Jason's head like, hey, maybe you should date her, but he didn't mean to do that. But, again, this is spineless jellyfish Aaron, who doesn't know how to stand up for himself. And now he's not able to stand up for himself because he has to be a part of this magical society of black people that has trained other black people to not stand up for themselves. The irony, right? So it's almost like everything the director thinks he knows about white people, everything he doesn't like about white people, he placed into this one character. We don't even really get an opportunity to see any humanity in Jason. It's almost like he exists to validate people's own internal sense of racism with respect to white people. Does that make sense? And then you have Roger, David Alan Grier's character, which to me represents a lot of the older generation in the black community who haven't quite come to grips with the fact that the world has changed and evolved, and that this younger generation, they're navigating race relations differently, but they're so stuck on what was, they can't see what is. And you have young Aaron here who is living in what is, but apparently what is flies in the face of the way this society runs things. I think the wrong thing is being satirized here, and I don't think that was the intention. There are definitely some funny bits, some funny moments, but it's not as good as it should have been. Again, great idea, poor execution, and it's so disappointing. I wanted this to be good, and it just wasn't. Those are my thoughts on the movie. That's all I've got to say. If you see the movie at any point this weekend, let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts. If you've only seen the trailer and that's all you want to see, I'd love to hear from you as well. So, that's all I got. I love you all very much. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. You're amazing. And I will see you next time.